Lord, I am weary, but I will not give up. Give
We
me
must
strength
trust
to
that he will provide.
We are not alone, are we, Mother?
No, we are never alone.
What if you're not empty? What if God has already answered your prayer and you've been calling it nothing? Stay with me. This story might change how you see what's in your hands. There is a moment in life when everything collapses so fast that you don't even know what to pray anymore. You don't have language for it. You don't have strategy for it. You just have pressure. And all you can say is, God, I have nothing. Where do I even start? But what if that sentence is not true? What if the miracle you're praying for is already in your house and you just can't see it yet? Today, we return to a story where a woman who believed she had nothing left discovered that God had already placed everything she needed right where she was.
Pay what you owe, or I will take your sons as slaves.
Please have mercy. We have nothing left.
This is the story of the widow and the oil. And before this ends, you may realize that what you thought was small was never insignificant to God. In her world, creditors do not send reminders. They send men. Men who take children as payment. This is no longer just about money. This is about her sons, their future, their identity, their freedom. Fear begins to press in. Fear that cripples decision-making. Fear that narrows vision. Fear that teaches children silent lessons about insecurity and survival. Loss does that. Loss doesn't only wound adults, it shapes households. Children absorb the emotional climate of a home, and when fear lives there long enough, it becomes a teacher. She stands at the edge of that reality, and she decides, fear will not be the voice that shapes her children's future. She runs to Elisha. Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves. Scripture gives no hint of disapproval, only space. Space to speak, space to cry, space to be heard. Elisha does not look at her with disdain or condemnation. He looks at her with compassion. He does not rebuke her for the debt or question her worth. Instead of a lecture, he offers a question of empowerment.
What shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you of value in your house?
He validates her late husband. He acknowledges the legacy of the servant who feared the Lord. He addresses the crisis. He focuses on the immediate threat to her son's freedom. He activates her faith. He uses the little she has to create a miracle of abundance. This is important. God does not meet desperate people with judgment. He meets them with compassion and instruction. She speaks from fear, but she moves from identity. Somewhere inside her, she has already decided, my husband served God and still died in debt, but my story and my sons will not end here. I still belong to God. She found a prophet's grace. Because she ran to the right source, her sons were saved from bondage, and her family's dignity was restored. Fear may be present, but it does not get to lead. Identity does, and identity always moves. This is not a financial or inventory question. It is an awareness question, and she answers honestly.
Your handmaid has nothing in the house, except a jar of oil.
Scripture gives no hint of disapproval, only space. Space to speak, space to cry, space to be heard. How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? I have nothing, except a small jar of oil. That word, accept, is the hinge of the miracle. Loss convinces us we are empty. God begins by restoring sight. Oil represents capacity, calling, what God places within a person. The thing she almost dismissed was the seed of her freedom. God rarely starts with what is impressive. He starts with what is available. Go, borrow empty vessels, not a few.
Thank you.
Shut the door and pour. She shuts the door. Her sons stand beside her, and she pours. The oil flows. Borrowing empty jars makes her vulnerable. Shutting the door isolates her. Pouring what little she has feels risky. Why shut the door? Because some obedience needs privacy. Some beginnings cannot survive an audience. Some faith grows best without commentary. Why pour? Because God does not multiply what we admire. He multiplies what we move. God multiplies movement, not intention. Obedience activates increase. She could have stood staring at the oil forever. It would never multiply until it was poured. Faith is not just believing God can. Faith is moving what you have.
Bring me another vessel. There is not a one left.
Fear gives way to focus. Panic gives way to purpose. This miracle is quiet, private, intentional. The oil stopped, not because God ran out, but because preparation ended. God did not stop the oil. The vessels did. Your capacity determines your experience of overflow. Now comes a moment many people miss. She returns to Elisha to tell him of the miracle. Fear runs ahead. Identity returns for instruction. He says to her, "Go, sell the oil, pay your debt, and you and your sons live on the rest." God doesn't just remove fear. He replaces it with stability. This is financial freedom with purpose. She moves from crisis to sustainability to dignity. Her children are not just spared, they are stabilized. Fear no longer governs the household. Identity does. In the Old Testament, the widow ran to Elisha. Today, we run directly to Christ. We don't discover identity through a prophet. We receive it in Jesus. And just like her, God still asks, "What do you have?" For many today, your oil looks ordinary. It may be a skill, a life experience, a connection, or even something as simple as the phone in your hand. That phone can teach you skills, open doors, create income, build platforms, share truth, serve others, and generate opportunity. What once required offices now requires obedience. The tool is not the miracle. Movement is. Fear says, "I don't have enough." God says, "Use what you have." Fear will tell you to wait. Identity tells you to pour. There is oil in your house, and when you move it, God will multiply it. So ask yourself, what is the oil God has placed in my hands? And what step is He asking me to take? Pour it out. He multiplies movement, not fear. This is a space where Bible stories meet real life, where faith restores identity, and financial freedom follows truth. You are not here by accident, but by divine purpose. Real stories, real hope, faith in motion. Thank you for your time. We meet in the next one as we explore more on the widow and the oil.